Welcome back, everyone. Dustin Davis here, and you're watching another Bears Express report. Chicago entered the playoffs with rising expectations, only to watch their season dissolve in overtime. The franchise now confronts decisions that extend beyond any single player. Choices about identity, timeline, and the direction of the roster still searching for balance. Conversations that once stayed internal have spilled into public debate. Questions about core contributors, salary flexibility, and where to invest limited resources are no longer hypothetical. The organization must decide whether to preserve offensive continuity or reallocate assets towards the defensive weaknesses that persisted despite heavy investment. Let's check out the decisions and moves that Ryan Poles will be leading. Before we continue, may I ask for your support? If you like what we're sharing, just take a second to hit that like button. It really helps us. Thank you. A single personnel move could alter Chicago's receiving depth and force the franchise to reconsider its offensive blueprint. DJ Moore's 2025 season featured dramatic peaks and painful valleys. His campaign included a Week 16 overtime touchdown that defeated the Green Bay Packers, but concluded with a miscommunication alongside Caleb Williams that resulted in an overtime interception and a divisional round exit. Questions about consistency and engagement have trailed him throughout his time with the team. Paired with younger receivers gaining traction, those concerns have kept him central to trade rumors. Daniel Jeremiah emerged as one prominent analyst exploring potential destinations. Jeremiah suggested the Pittsburgh Steelers could represent a realistic trade partner. He pointed to Pittsburgh's limited options behind starter DK Metcalf and highlighted the team's draft resources, including several third-round picks in the 2026 NFL Draft, as assets the Steelers might deploy to add an established target. On the Move the Sticks, he floated the concept that a third-round selection could be packaged or redirected to bring in a veteran receiver. From a financial and roster perspective, Moore remains signed through 2030. Cutting him would generate roughly $28.5 million in dead cap penalties, whereas a trade could eliminate approximately $24 million in committed money and deliver draft compensation that addresses other roster gaps, a trade-off GM Ryan Poles would evaluate closely. Additional outlets have linked the player to other potential teams. Sports Illustrated identified the Buffalo Bills as a sensible destination, citing ongoing criticism that the organization has failed to surround quarterback Josh Allen with adequate receiving weapons. That narrative gained traction after Joe Brady's elevation to head coach. Brady previously coached Moore in Carolina, and sparked commentary from writers like Kari Thompson, who contended a reunion could benefit both parties by clearing space for younger players such as Loveland and Burden to grow. Look, he's frustrating because the talent is obvious. One week he's beating Green Bay in overtime, the next he's part of the play that ends your season. That inconsistency is exactly why teams with a third-rounder and cap space are circling. Do you write it out or cash in now? I want to know your opinion. Meanwhile, defensive reinforcement remains the franchise's most urgent priority as trade rumors intensify around the premier pass rusher. What assets would Chicago sacrifice and what would they receive to acquire elite edge defender Maxx Crosby? Throughout Chicago, supporters and executives have discussed what acquiring Maxx Crosby might require. The Bears allocated substantial resources to support Montez Sweat, yet the anticipated transformational benefit did not entirely materialize. Following Sweat's 2023 trade and a 4-year extension approaching nearly $98 million, Chicago sought to strengthen the interior by re-signing Andrew Billings to a modest 2-year contract and acquiring veteran tackle Grady Jarrett on a multi-year deal reported in the tens of millions. The front office also added edge depth, signing Dayo Odeyingbo to a contract with notable guarantees. An Achilles injury in Week 9 limited his availability and diminished the expected improvement. Interest in Crosby has prompted extensive market exploration. Bill Zimmerman of Windy City Gridiron reported conversations with sources connected to the Las Vegas organization, indicating that while packages involving multiple first-round picks would appeal, team evaluators consider such proposals improbable given Crosby's age and contract situation. Alternative frameworks discussed in those exchanges were more intricate combinations of draft capital and established NFL talent, rather than a complete sacrifice of premium selection. Those alternative structures reportedly could feature a future first-round pick, a day 2 choice, and a proven wide receiver to mitigate the immediate offensive setback, an arrangement that might prove acceptable if financial projections were recalibrated. From the Raiders' perspective, incorporating a veteran pass catcher could help justify trading a long-standing edge defender, while also providing roster components to support a fresh organizational direction. Crosby's track record supplies a rationale. Across 7 NFL seasons, he has compiled nearly 70 sacks, more than 100 tackles for loss, and over 150 quarterback pressures, along with a substantial number of forced fumbles. That reliable disruption and recent production surge explain why contending teams are prepared to offer significant compensation. For Chicago, the evaluation is straightforward. Including a starting receiver in a package would reduce immediate payroll and generate draft resources to target an impact defender, but it would also create an obvious void in the offense. The organization must assess whether the defensive enhancements' long-term benefits outweigh the short-term offensive setback, and whether acquiring an established disruptor like Crosby best positions the franchise for sustained competitiveness. They already gave Sweat nearly $100 million, and the transformation didn't arrive. So now you're contemplating another elite edge at a similar cost, except this time you're also losing offensive firepower to make it happen. That's a high-stakes bet that your defense can carry the load while young receivers figure it out. What do you think? For me, Crosby would be what Chicago is missing. What about you? A fresh report suggests free agency could offer Chicago an alternative path to bolstering their struggling pass rush this offseason. Could signing an accomplished pass rusher represent the final component Chicago needs for a championship run? The Chicago Bears, following their strongest season in years, are no different. One potential addition is veteran edge rusher Von Miller. Reports suggest the Washington Commanders may permit Von Miller and wideout Deebo Samuel to leave via free agency per Sports Illustrated. Given Chicago's persistent struggles generating reliable pressure, pursuing Miller constitutes a sensible, high-reward free agent target. Like many veterans at this career phase, Miller has cycled through several organizations in recent years. His track record indicates he prioritizes joining teams that offer a genuine route to a championship. Miller's credentials are indisputable: a cornerstone of the Denver Broncos defense that won Super Bowl 50, a subsequent trade to the Los Angeles Rams that yielded another championship in his debut season there, and a later signing with the Buffalo Bills designed to push that franchise closer to a title alongside Josh Allen. Though a championship with Buffalo never came, Miller helped produce consistent postseason appearances. A brief, unsuccessful tenure in Washington followed, and now he appears ready to pursue opportunity elsewhere. Miller is chasing rings. Securing a third Super Bowl would further solidify a legacy already defined by 8 Pro Bowl selections and 138.5 career sacks. The Bears' recent trajectory make them a credible candidate. If Miller prioritized lifestyle over competition, he might choose a coastal franchise. But for a veteran focused on winning another title, Chicago's momentum is attractive. On the field, Miller would provide more than veteran presence. He would reinforce the edge opposite Montez Sweat, forming a potentially dominant pass rush pairing. Chicago managed just 35 sacks last season, a figure that ranked the unit 22nd league-wide, an evident area requiring improvement. If the Bears' goal is a Super Bowl appearance, adding a proven game-changer like Miller is an uncomplicated strategic choice. Financially, the organization projects to exceed the salary cap by approximately $10.69 million and would need to create space to sign a veteran of Miller's caliber. That constraint is genuine, but the potential return, both in production and leadership, suggests a gamble may be warranted. Simply pursuing Miller demonstrates ambition. 8 Pro Bowls and 2 rings don't guarantee he's still that guy, but pairing him with Sweat gives you legitimate bookend rushers for the first time in years. The Bears rank 22nd in sacks. That's not a depth issue, it's a talent issue. Miller solves it instantly, assuming the front office can maneuver $10 million in cap hell. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Join the community for exclusive daily content. We're here to keep you updated with everything going on in Chicago. See you next time.